to a citizen, boy. Citizen to a citizen, boy.
Key to life.
Another one. And now, our feature presentation.
Like that, we are back again. Listen, it's really episode 1. The first episode was a quick freestyle. We'll call this episode 1. This is going to be the biggest, the best of 2A talk. Into the channel where we discuss different 2A related topics, and when we talk to just regular people about 2A community, 2A conversations, things of that nature. But today we definitely do not have a regular person on the line. Today we are privileged, we are blessed to have one of the dynamic duos, the awesome twosome. I don't even know how to describe them. From Poppy, initiated by far one of the top 2 podcasts talking about just everyday life, relationships, finances. I mean, they have been featured on The Breakfast Club, LA Times, New York Post. They've done interviews with D1, Judge Lynn Toller, Rolanda Rochelle from the Country Wayne Show, TK Kirkland, Royce Watkins, Samantha Lee, Tony Gaskins. I mean, I can go on and on. That'll take an entire interview. We have with us today Tysean Jackson. Let's get it. Welcome.
Let's get it. It's a blessing. Man. Excited.
Yeah, we're definitely excited to have you. And of course, we can't leave out. We can't leave out 3Duck, aka Top W, aka Thailand Will. From the I Love Human podcast. He's blessing us tonight. He's. I mean, he didn't even know that he's the co-host for real, but he's definitely the co-host of the show, 2A Talk. He's coming at us from a whole different perspective. He will bend your mind. Hey, pause.
Yo, the way you said it was great.
We're going to be petty. We can start now.
But yeah, he's coming at us, and we are here. We're just having some 2A talk with some people that matter. Tysean, how you doing today?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. I had a good day, a good rest day. This was really the most important thing on the calendar, so I'm excited to be here.
We definitely appreciate it. Well, listen, we're going to jump right into it. I know your time is super limited and precious to us. In true form and fashion, we know we're talking about firearms today, and the topic for the most part is why did you start carrying, or why did you get into firearms? So we'll just start it off with what made you go out and get a firearm to begin with, and then what age did you get one?
Yeah, I got my first firearm when I was 24. And I got it because I had literally just purchased my very first home. So I bought, after I graduated from school, moved back in with my mom, saved up all my money, copped a spot, and I just felt like the gun went with the house. Like I didn't feel like I should have my own house without the gun to protect it. So literally probably within 3 months of me purchasing the first home, I purchased a Army Green Glock 19.
Ooh.
Very good gun, but I kind of looked up because I purchased the gun without ever even firing the gun. I just literally just purchased it because I heard it was a hot gun, and I
Right,
liked
right,
the way
right.
the gun looked.
Right.
But that's
Right.
how it went down.
That's interesting.
Man,
3W. Go ahead, Will.
No, I was just I was saying that's an interesting answer. He actually addressed some of the things that I was already wondering.
Yeah.
But what was your experience with firearms before that purchase?
Nothing formal, actually. I had a certain comfort level with guns, but it was all ratchet training and just kind of, going to our uncle's house and seeing a gun around. Matter of fact, Marlon tapped me on the shoulder and said, grab my gun, without giving me no kind of gun safety disclaimer. Just grabbing a gun with no training and handing it to him. I don't know. I guess it was some kind of rite of passage to prove I was a man. Just grabbing a gun without knowing anything about it. But nothing at all formal. So
Yeah.
everything I learned came after the purchase of the gun.
I'll be honest. That was my level of we'll call it pre-training. And say, yo, get that. Don't. It was either get that or don't touch that. Get that or don't touch that. So that's pretty interesting. What's also interesting, Will and I, we were talking about gun ownership in Georgia, where in Kennesaw you can't own a home and not own a gun. Like that's the law. They don't enforce it, but in Kennesaw, Georgia, you can't own a home unless you own a gun, which really, for the most part, people will not admit it, but that has kept the crime in Kennesaw down tremendously because one, the thought process is for you to own a gun, you have to be a law-abiding citizen and not have any felonies. We know that that's not to be true, right? And then the other one is felons or criminals will think twice before they go to Georgia because everybody there's a gun in there. They'll either think twice or bring more people with them, bring more guns, right? So that's pretty interesting. So I mean, yeah, you answered a bunch of our questions with that one answer as far as age and what was your first purchase. Now it was a Glock. What caliber?
It was a 9mm
Got you.
Glock 19. Yeah.
Glock 19. Okay.
So crazy thing. Check it out though. I no longer have the gun
Oh.
because I think this is a good thing to be known. A rookie mistake I made because I actually got into a car accident. I wasn't good at carrying, so I'm not a big fan of the Glock 19 because the way I needed to really be having that gun was to carry, and I wasn't really carrying it because it was so large.
Just thought I'd catch that shit. Yeah, that's crazy.
That was
Yo, you
crazy.
fucking
No,
forced myself.
that was crazy. Just throw it. I'll catch it. Now he's drinking it. Oh my goodness.
On my pants, my pants are nice and fitted, not skinny, fitted. But even still, the Glock 19 is not the best to put inside of your jeans. So I would keep it in the car, and I got so used to keeping it in my car. After I had gotten into an accident, I gave them my vehicle, left the Glock 19 in the glove compartment, and it had got stolen, which was unfortunate, but
Hey, I think Will has a story. It didn't get stolen. Oh, I think he was the thief. I think Will has a story about leaving Glocks in cars. I don't know if he wants to share it or not. I don't know if you want to share it.
I mean, I can
Yeah.
because I think it's a situation like that is a learning moment, right?
Yeah.
In the state of Georgia, there's a bit of an epidemic of firearms being stolen out of cars. People, out of habit, leave their firearms in their glove compartment or under the armrest or what have you. And there are kids in the city who are aware of that. So when you go places, they're looking to break into vehicles to steal your firearm. So
Right.
my oldest, he had purchased a firearm. I didn't know that he purchased a firearm. I borrowed his car one day to run to the store real quick because he was blocking me into the driveway. And I thought the way the story goes, I wasn't like snooping, but I thought I saw like some ashes
He was
in
snooping.
the vehicle. So I'm like, this nigga smoking. Like, he didn't even tell me he smoked. I ain't got a problem if he smoked, but I don't know he smoked. So I'm like, where the weed at? So I open the armrest and boom, lock right there. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I took the gun and I didn't tell him because I wanted to see what he was going to do. And days go by and he doesn't mention that his firearm is missing. He doesn't say anything to us. I'm sure he can't because we don't know that he has it anyway.
Yeah.
You know, so it was an opportunity for me to teach him not to keep the firearm in your car, especially not parked in the driveway in front of the house, because just because you're home doesn't mean somebody won't come into your vehicle and steal your firearm. We know people who've had their guns stolen
Right. Yeah.
from their vehicle right in their driveway. So for people who are getting into owning a firearm, I think it's important to learn these things, because when these weapons end up in the wrong hands, they can be used for the wrong reasons.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
so I think thank you for even admitting that, Ty. Like, I think that's something that a lot of firearms owners need to learn to be aware of, because it's just proper gun safety.
Yeah, and I think he said it best. He said it's a rookie mistake, and it is. You know, I don't. It doesn't matter how many. Like going to the. Doesn't matter what time I get back. Everything comes out of the car. It's just. You know, because you would hate for. You know, one, you'd hate for your car to get broken into, right? But now they break into your car and they take these firearms and they use them in a manner that they shouldn't be used, and can cause, you know, bodily harm, death, this, that, and the third. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to kind of live with that. It's not a good thing. I mean, people shouldn't be breaking into your car, but at the same time, you shouldn't leave firearms in your car for no amount of time. You know, when I hear you. So basically, you concealed carry. So when you got your first firearm, did you immediately go get your concealed carry permit in Georgia, or was there like a stick? Because I know when I first started carrying, I didn't have a concealed carry. That was in Florida. I didn't have a concealed carry. It wasn't until probably about 2 years later, and let me kind of give some context to that, right? I wasn't such a law-abiding citizen. I was legal, but at the same time, if you understand what I'm saying. So I got my concealed carry 2 years down the line after carrying a firearm. You know, I was a kid. I was younger. I learned.
Yeah.
Became more responsible. So did you get your concealed carry right away, or?
No, I definitely got it. Honestly, I was just so uneducated on laws. I thought I needed it before I had to buy a gun. So I didn't even know you could just purchase the gun and not have it. So I went down to DeKalb County, got it all handled, then purchased the gun offline.
And then got the gun. Which actually in Georgia and North Carolina too, it's actually it speeds up the process, right? If you already have your concealed carry, they already know you got your prints on file, this and the third. So when you go and you give them that card, that kind of speeds up the process. But that's pretty interesting.
And see, I've actually bought my gun from an online vendor.
Okay.
So I didn't even go into a store when I first purchased my weapon.
But you had to pick it up from a store, right? Like a FFL?
I did. Yep.
Yeah. Pay that $50 transfer fee.
I can't.
You can't remember?
Not at all.
Have you ever Have you ever had to pull out on somebody? Or have
Nah.
you ever felt threatened where you were thinking about using your firearm?
I'm blessed to say no. I have had situations where I was like, damn, I wish I would have had it on me.
Right.
Just because I'm in a situational environment and I'm like, I don't know if that threat is a possibility. I feel that often.
Like it can go
but
down.
never having, or this is an area where it possibly could and would, you know, like even doing something as silly as we went to the cabins recently.
Right.
Me, my boy Said, my co-host Ryan, and another one of my homeboys all went to the cabins. None of us brought our straps.
I'm confused.
Like, yo, I mean, very confused. I'm like, yo, what are we going to like arm wrestle the bear that attacks us? Like, what was we planning to do out here?
It's strong, but I don't know.
But again, I think it's because, my point. So like, I realized though, rookie mistakes even today. So I'm not even a good example today because I still have not found the right gun that I'm comfortable carrying and that I have fit and kind of suit to my day to day. So I don't carry consistently at all, even today.
Have you looked?
No, that's my problem.
Yeah, because I mean, right now, in the last 2 or 3 years, the market's been flooded with these. I mean, it's not new, but they've branded as micro compacts or micro subcompacts, much like the SIG P365, the Springfield Hellcat. They're slim. They're very slim, small, but their big claim to fame is that they have large capacity, high capacity mags, like 13, 15, 16. Whereas the old subcompacts or compacts, like for example, the Glock 26, you know, if you get a Glock 26 stock, that Glock 26, you know, it's pretty thick, and I think it holds 10. You can put a +2 on there, and it'll be 12, or you can put a +5 on there, and obviously 15. But yeah, the micro compacts, they're slimmer. Hold on.
I was gonna say, while you're doing that, sir, I think you might be well served to make content for people like Tysean who are in the business attire, dress on a regular basis to show them what's most comfortable to carry.
Yeah. There's a guy. Let me show Claire real quick. This is your 13 plus 2, so this is 15 rounds, right? It's 15 rounds. Shameless plug, custom, right? But this is the size of the entire firearm right here. And to give you some perspective, this is your Hellcat, not the Pro. The Hellcat Pro is a little bit longer. But to give you some perspective, it's the size of my hand right there.
Wow.
Yeah, that's suitable.
And that's you said, is that the Glock 26?
No, this is a Springfield Hellcat.
Okay.
The Glock 26 is actually, it's almost the same size, but it's way thicker. See how thin that is?
Yeah.
All right, so the Glock 26, I'll give you some more perspective. The Glock 26 is as wide as, this is a Glock 19X. So if you look at the difference between the thickness, you know, you're shaving off about 1/4 of an inch, maybe less, on with the Springfield Hellcat. So this is something that, you know, you could probably carry with your with your fitted jeans, your fitted outfit. You know, you can actually put this in a blazer pocket. It will fit. It has fit for me. You know, you can carry it like this with the 15 rounds. or there's a shorter. It's a shorter magazine. Hold on. I don't have it with me. There is a shorter magazine that gives you 12 rounds. And you still have it. Here's the size of my hand. So see how small that is? Yeah.
Yeah. That's a really good size.
Hey, yo, my nigga.
The way you said it was great.
Yeah, definitely a good size. Let me know, if you need some more information or if you need some recommendations. That's one that I would recommend. The other one is the Sig P365. I think this is just my opinion. Take it. My advice is, go out there and shoot these things and see what you like. But my opinion is that the Hellcat has a better trigger, even though I changed my trigger out from the factory trigger. So this isn't the factory trigger. This is a Apex tactical trigger. But I think stock, the Hellcat does have a better trigger than the P365. But both of them are slim, low profile, low footprint when it comes to wearing fitted attire. So yeah, we'll look into that. I'll get you situated. So
That's dope.
yeah. One of the other questions, Will, did you have a follow up on that? Because I've got a plethora of questions now, based on what Tysean said. Like as far as everybody went to the mountains and nobody was carrying. That just blew my mind. I mean, because let me explain. I mean, there's three things that I leave my crib with, or I can't leave without: keys, wallet, gun, and not necessarily in that order. And the thing is, when I go to bed at night, I put them all together, so I can't leave without them, no matter what I'm doing. It's I don't know. In the day and age that we're living in, you don't want to be the guy that I have a gun, but it's at home, and you go out and something happens that you could have stopped from happening, but you just decided not to go ahead and prepare yourself or make yourself ready for the worst. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. That's like driving to a different state with a quarter tank of gas and $1 in your pocket.
Right.
Yeah.
Identical. Listen, we all agree that this was one of the most okay, I'm gonna keep it clean, but just weak moves we could have made as men as a whole. So we all equally, chastise each other
Right.
for this very very low move in our masculine journey.
Got you. Do you have like people in your camp that are not so 2A inclined? That you say, hey, you don't need a gun, buddy. That type of situation, that Friday type scene.
Nah. Now all of my guys are pro gun and
Gotcha.
all have weapons. I think the biggest thing I see people struggle with, though, is the same thing I struggle with, is consistently carrying and actually even just consistently just shooting your weapon
Training.
In general, just making that a habit. Exactly.
That was my next question. Will, I used to talk to Will all the time, man. Some people, they'll call you and say, hey, good morning or good afternoon. I'll call him. I'm like, hey, when's the last time you went to the range? Yeah. When's the last time you went to the range? Because at the end of the day, that gun is fairly useless if you don't know how to use it effectively, to be honest with you.
1000%.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So it's definitely always going to be a question I ask, especially anybody that I'm close with. I'm like, hey man, have you been training? Things of that nature. So
man, I'm gonna be honest. I honestly believe when I first started learning, it's such an important skill. Just not even shooting, absolutely, but just combat in general, just knowing how to defend yourself,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
and these different fundamental aspects. So much so, it really is such a fundamental skill set that it truly should be a part of our curriculum, just as youngsters, like whether middle school, elementary, however, whenever it comes, it should
Yeah.
absolutely be a mandatory thing that you just learn.
Yeah, no, yeah, I completely agree. All three of us on this call, when it comes to fitness and keeping our physicals, how should I say it, ready for combat or ready for whatever, just staying healthy.
Yeah.
We all three of us we do that, and then of course there's the fighting aspect. We know Will. He does the boxing thing, which was, man, I'm jealous because I can box, but I can't box as far as training. I can't use that as a form of training because of my ankle. I can't. The footwork has a lot to do with boxing. I got hands.
Big one.
I got hands. But if you throw a punch, I'm not moving out the way. not too quick anyway.
That must have been when you got into guns.
Hey, exactly. It's like I'm not gonna run, but I'm gonna let you know it's going downhill from here. Yeah. But definitely the physical aspect. It has to be there. The physical, the mental, has to be there. Will, you about to ask a question?
Yeah. Hold on. You're gonna have to edit this out a little bit.
Yeah.
My bad for making more work for you. But we were talking for so long before we started that my camera went out. It gets hot.
Oh, it's fine now. I see it. You good?
I mean, it's fine now, but let's see what happens in 30 seconds, shall we?
I'll put
You
a smiley.
gotta let the people know
that. I'll put a smiley face if it goes out.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what we should do, let's just do it. Give everybody a disclaimer.
Yeah,
that Will is literally in the Philippines, and actually during this episode, he's peddling the power to the computer right now as we speak. So, guys, literally, if he stops peddling, this whole shit is over with. So, give him some grace.
Please. Yes. Because if I got to go to the... I got to wear multiple hats out here. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no! Oh.
But before I stop pedaling, let me see if I can get this next question out. Ty, considering what you were just mentioning with you, Ryan, and you, Ryan, and said going up to the mountains and having this moment of we're not on top of our A game on our man shit, being out here with no firearms. I know the content that you guys do on your show, a lot of it is with regard to manhood, leading, relationships, and so on and so forth. So, with that in mind, I know you have a lot of, your audience is largely female, a lot of women that watch the show. So what would you communicate, or what would your message be to your audience regarding owning and carrying concealed? As women, do you encourage it? Do you encourage them to find a man that is already carrying, or do you encourage them to carry themselves and be able to protect themselves also?
Yeah, well, first off, I do think just how I said is fundamental. I really mean it's fundamental. I think everybody, young man and woman, old man and woman, should be able to use it, especially if you're a young single woman, because in most cases, a young single woman, especially a woman alone, is a target in many cases. So a woman absolutely, if more than anybody else, probably would need to know how to operate a firearm, because the risk of something, or the likelihood of something happening, is higher for her. So 100%. Now, I wouldn't be so I guess rigid to tell a woman not to date a man if he doesn't know how to use a firearm, but I would say you obviously want to make sure he understands or has some aspect of wanting to secure or protect you, the family, the household. That's just something you want to look out for. And if he already is hip on guns, cool. And if he's not, I mean, I would think it's wise to just vet his level of openness or his experience with guns and see if that's something he's open to. Because if he is completely 100% against guns, there's guys like that. That to
Right.
me is concerning.
Yeah.
But I mean, I still don't think that's enough to tell a woman not to get a guy, because it's in general, some guy over no guy is still a level of protection.
That-
But, you know, that is concerning to me if a person or a brother or sister don't want to use their amendment, their right, you know, in this country to be able to have that weapon.
Right, right. That was definitely my next question. What would be your advice to your audience, your female side of your audience, if they were pro T2A and they met a guy that they were dating and that guy was not so pro 2A? I think you answered that, which is it's actually funny because there are situations or quote unquote relationships like that I know of personally, where it's the female that has the getting the training, and it's the male. It's like, no, I don't want to.
That's pretty symbolic of just where we are in relationships in general, actually. But you know, it's kind of crazy because
Role reversal.
it's some real role reversal, and I would even say if you like early in dating to, you know, see even a level of openness to maybe a gun range date, or, you know, somehow bringing it up in this way, you know. But me personally, I think I think if a woman, you know, throws out a gun range date on me, I think I would catch it to know that this is concerning. Like, I think I think me, because I'm hip on it, I think I would understand what that means. But in general, obviously, if you even considering this, then you're concerned as a woman enough to be like, okay, I mean, I don't feel safe. I don't even know if this guy is
Right.
hip. So I think that's a smooth way to probably open up that conversation.
Right.
Wait a minute.
Right.
So, in that vein, let me ask this: when you have a family, obviously you want to be prepared for all that you can, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you mentioned earlier, when you bought your first home, you felt like the natural next step was to have a firearm to protect your home.
Right.
Now, when you're starting a family and you have, you know, a wife and you have children, would you feel comfortable, or would you require the woman that you marry who's going to be raising your children to have a level of comfortability with handling firearms and have a level of education with firearms in case something were to happen to you? You feel comfortable that she can hold it down?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, in case something were to happen to me, in case something were to happen to her, in case something were to happen to, you know, our family or our children, you know, regardless on who it was to happen to, again, I think it's really important to just know, again, how to protect or be ready for whatever happens, because you won't always be around me, and life is unpredictable, you know?
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Life is risky.
Definitely.
My man Jim Rohn used to say, life is risky. Life is so risky, I can 100% guarantee you won't even make it out alive.
Word.
Well, you gotta listen to that. That's layers. That's layers.
Right.
You know.
Yes.
But yeah, no. Life is risky, and you can't leave it to chance. I mean, you know, I tell the story all the time. I left here, you know, one morning. We had just moved to Charlotte, probably about maybe 9 months in. And, you know, my wife sends me a text and say, hey, did you notice the hole in the back door? And I'm like, you know, nonchalantly, did I notice the hole in the back door? We have a glass back door. I was like, no, I didn't notice a hole in the back door. If I saw a hole in the back door, I'd be concerned. Is there a hole in the back door? And this is all by text, by the way. What are you talking about? I was like, send me a picture of what you're talking about. Because in my mind, a hole is like, well, Oh, sends me a picture of the glass broken. it was about an 8-inch hole by the doorknob where somebody tried to break in, and then as she did some further investigation, they saw the screens on the windows were pulled out. They were trying to get into the window. So imagine me, I'm at work. Yeah, my daughter, my wife are upstairs sleeping, and this is happening at 6:00 in the morning. I mean, your heart is pumping. And again, the reason why I tell this story every opportunity I get is because I work uptown and I live 10.2 miles away, door to door. And I got into my car. So you imagine you're leaving the busy city of Charlotte and you're driving to your home. It should take 15, 20 minutes. My wife already called the police. And then when I got in the car, so I got to come down the elevator, 29, 30 floors, walk to the parking lot, get in my car, call the police, talking to the police, and asking them, telling them what happened. And they're getting the information, and I'm driving, and I get home, and the police still have not arrived. And then even after I got home, the police arrived 33 minutes after the fact to conduct their investigation. Can you imagine? This started at 6, and ultimately we didn't see the first officer on scene till 8:41 a.m. So, wow. Police officers, law enforcement, they have a hard job. And I think what a lot of the people need to absorb, respect, and understand is the fact that they're called first responders for a reason. They respond, not react, they respond. And that basically means when you call them, then they're like, okay, and then there's levels of urgency. Oh, so right. There's nobody there? Oh, okay, so we could take our time. Right. So, we have to, as a community, not a 2A community, but as a community, we have to kind of really think about or put a little bit more urgency on perseverance, like self-protection. What are you doing to protect yourself? You are your first line of defense. The police, they're spread out. There's 4,800 officers, I think, last I checked, for Charlotte, Mecklenburg County, to police, 10, 15 million people. I don't know. Let me get my facts straight, because I don't want to spew out inaccurate information. So let's see. Population of Charlotte population.
I think in short, if you live in a city that's ever hosted the first 48, then you should limit your expectations. Your expectations of the response time for a failed B&E should be relatively limited, and you should expect to be in a situation where you have to protect yourself, because they got bigger things to deal with.
Right.
They can't, like you said, sir, everything doesn't get the same level of urgency. If there's no active threat that you're telling the 911 operator is there, then when that goes over the whatever their communication channels are, they're probably going to put you lower on the tier priorities. It's just
absolutely.
What do you want them to do?
And I get it. I just got the numbers. So just for the city of Charlotte, population is 879,000. As of 2020, sworn law enforcement, right? They're taking the oath. 1,982, and then unsworn 476. So let's just say, the sworn, let's just say 2,000 people police at 879. Hey, let's just say 5% of that 879,000 are criminals. What
We
are we
got the
doing
advantage.
here? What are we doing
Yeah.
here? So I get it that they have that triage that where they have to say, well, if there's nobody in the house and they're already going and you're all right, you're fine. You know, let us know when, you know, it's I can't even say shots fired, because shots fired is going to get a delayed response anyway, because we have to wait to see how many more shots are fired before we just send people there, this, that, and the third. That was an actual radio call when shots are being fired. This is about 7 years back, and it was a 911 call. I'll find it and post it, where the 911 operator was saying, well, how many shots were fired? And the lady was saying, they're firing now. And then, 2 minutes went by. I was like, are they still firing? So she hasn't dispatched anybody at this point in time. That's what the record showed, that it wasn't until the call ended. The 911 call was 11 minutes, 38 seconds. And she didn't, typically when it's a 911 call, they're dispatching simultaneously. They're giving the information. So police are on the way. Police weren't on the way. They're like, hey, shots fired. We don't want them to get hurt. And this is what she said on the call. So, we want to know how many, where is it coming from before we dispatch everybody. So, yeah, it's pretty pretty crazy.
One of my mentors, and he's actually got a dope gun community here in Atlanta. I actually would love for you to meet him. His name is Ken with Prevectus Group, doing good work out here. He actually a lot of time in law enforcement, and I actually interviewed him on one show, and he pretty much stated that, which was offensive to some, but stated that in many ways police are simply note takers when it comes down to it. And in many ways that's how they function, because again, it's just the nature of how it will work. Things happen and then they respond. You know, so by the time they get there, it's done. So in most cases. So you when things are going down, it's your training or whatever you've prepared for that kicks in. So we just have to be prepared ourselves.
And with that in mind, I like to ask both of you guys. Obviously, like, we're talking about having to protect ourselves, having to protect our families. So with that in mind, at what age would you say is ideal for your children to learn about handling firearms and be comfortable with handling firearms to be able to protect themselves in the household?
Ty, I'll let you go first with that answer. Mine is going to be tiered.
It's interesting because I actually asked that question to the same brother, and he actually answered it for me, and he pretty much said as soon as they can walk and essentially have motor skills, because at that point the gun is now a threat to them, and they are now likely to have potentially walked. How many stories have we seen with a 3-year-old getting their hands on a weapon and firing it because they just didn't know what it was, how it was?
Absolutely.
So he starts training his very even. I think at the time when I first met his son was about maybe 4 or 5, and his son had a BB gun and was taught how to fire that gun, which he said prior before that the gun was it was a fake gun, but he operated and taught his child as if it were a loaded weapon. Yeah. But in that way, they are just, schooled on how to operate and how to use this tool that they'll see if they were to run into it, whether it's fake or real. The training doesn't change. But if you have guns in the house, I think it's just it's like your obligation to educate everybody on the house how to operate this thing that they'll run into.
Yep. So that is definitely great answer. First off, and that's definitely my answer. I went about it a little bit differently, with my young one, and she's about to be 13 now, but she's known from when she first started walking and talking, this is what a gun is, what it's supposed to be used for, and what it can be used for, and not to touch it. And she's at the age now where, well, first of all, she's been around guns, obviously, her entire life. She knows, she knows where the guns are. I mean, they're all locked up. I have a gun room, and inside that gun room is a gun safe where all the guns are, the ones that I lock up and not actively using or carrying. She knows not to mess with them. More importantly, what she knows are the gun safety rules, because I've been putting that in her head, and she could recite them now, and 5 years before now, she could recite them, and she just understands why people have guns, what they're supposed to be used for, what they shouldn't be used for, and that it's not a game, it's not a toy. And speaking of toys, as she was growing up, we didn't allow her to actually put her hands on toy guns. So we kind of did the opposite. There wasn't any training with toy guns or things of that nature. I think the first time she shot a water gun, she might have been 5 or 6. It sounds crazy, but it's something that, until I felt that she understand what guns were and are, I didn't want her to have that. To each his own. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with training 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds on air pistols or even real firearms. Because if you look at certain kids, that are like in the Olympics and things like that, they'll like, I've been shooting since I was 6, 7 years old, and they had that knowledge, they had that responsibility. And they understood it to be not just a sport, but a means of protecting yourself. And they know how to handle a firearm. I mean, at the end of the day, I hate to make it sound like it's a simple thing, but it's like when you send your kid to the park, you go to the park, you want them to be aware of the things that can happen. So you give them the information before they leave the house. You give them this information. You say, beware of this, don't do that. You give them their safety rules, what not to do. Do all kids follow these rules? No. You hope that they will. I mean, I didn't. But at the end of the day, you have to give them the information and not give it to them in a lecturing way, but a way where they can receive it as, hey, he's telling me some stuff, versus, oh, he's telling me some stuff. You know what I mean? So education is important. I didn't have that education growing up. My daughter's age, we went in my dad's closet. He hid his gun. We take it out. Because it was so small, we thought it was a toy gun. And we were shooting in the backyard at a tree in Brooklyn. It was a little 2.5. I'll never forget. It's a Raven. We're in the backyard shooting at a tree in Brooklyn. Now think about it.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's pretty funny. And what kills me is, like, we didn't know where to buy bullets or how to buy bullets. Right? We were kids. So my dad, for a good 4 or 5 years, because we ran out of bullets, that's why we stopped shooting it, was walking around with no bullets in his stuff. I don't even think he checked. I think he just he just was like, yo, I got a gun.
Y'all didn't think about the shit y'all could have put him into, running around Brooklyn with a unloaded weapon.
No, never done that. When the bullets ran out is when we stopped shooting. The gun. It was the funniest thing.
Wow.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But
Will,
listen,
do me a favor and hold on, just tell Will to pedal. We can't see him.
Yeah, well, you gotta pedal faster so we can get your camera back on.
Hold on, it's coming back on now. Here we go. There we go.
Something.
Boom.
Can I make a donation to the Thailand?
There we go.
There we go. We back. For 90 seconds, we back. I'm trying to preserve, I'm trying to preserve myself. It's a marathon. You can't sprint the whole time. You heard? So
I get it. But
so
no,
with that in mind, I'm gonna get to one last question before my camera blew out again. I mentioned when we did the show, Serge, that when I was carrying on a regular basis, I didn't necessarily enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
Every time I put the weapon on my hip, I would always just have this thought in my mind: please don't have me need to use this today.
Right.
So, Ty, I wanted to ask you. I know you said you're one of your weaknesses is that you don't carry on a regular basis. But when you do, how do you handle the thought of possibly having to use this today? I know you live in Atlanta. I know in Atlanta now they say you don't need a concealed carry license to carry. Everybody is the wild, wild South now, right? So how does do you give any thought to that, or does that energy, consume you at all? Like when you're carrying a firearm, is it in your mind that I could be in a position where I have to use this on somebody?
I think that's more so based on my environment, but not even much, man. Because I don't know. Lately, I don't know if I'm getting more bourgeois or what, but I'm not in those environments or predicaments, So like, it's like I've been rolling pretty, safely. At least as from what the eye can see. Who knows if I walk into a damn Kroger and somebody comes in to spray it? But I'm just saying, just generally.
Right.
I don't put myself in as many high risk situations that I probably would have been a few years ago in my life.
Let me say something. Let me say something about that. I put it up on an episode of Pause last week, 2 weeks ago. You might have seen it. This man was coming home. He was getting ready to go to the gym. He parked his car. He was in LA. Had his coffee in his hand. He was putting his key in his front door, his gated front door, and two assailants jumped the fence and put a gun to his back. He was minding his business. He wasn't out doing in those in different areas where that could happen. He was home. And fortunately enough, he was able to go ahead and defend himself.
Well, see, I don't doubt that possibility is always possible. But to Will's question of, is it in my mind or consuming my thoughts as much?
Yeah,
not so much, to be honest. The biggest thing with me is I'm just thinking, damn, this gun is uncomfortable. Like that is more so. I have not gotten used to being able to just walk around with the gun and it not bother me. I'm just thinking about, this shit is changing my walk. Like that's more so the thought that's dominating my mind while I have a gun on me.
Right. Well, listen, we'll work on that. We'll work on that. We got you.
You need some Hellcat.
Yeah, that Hellcat. I don't promote brands in particular, but I will say if you're you want to straighten up your walk and you want to have something where it's slim and it fits your slim clothes and your slim shirt and your slim look. You got your Hellcat, you got your 365, you got the IWI Slam, things like that, man. I'll we'll talk after the show. But listen, man, we really appreciate you taking this time out. I know you guys are super busy with your show. Your podcast is beautiful, man. It helps so many people. I read those comments, and when I see you guys on the breakfast call, I was like, what? Wait a minute. I was, it was just refreshing to see, real, real people talking about real things and impacting people's lives. And then you took the time out to do this show, so we're super amped about that. Like I told you before it started, Will and I, we were talking every day this week. We're like, we want to make sure we maximize this time. These are busy people, yada yada yada. So definitely appreciate that. Anything you want to say to your viewers? Because I know your viewers are going to see this episode, see you on a different platform, and then my viewers, they're going to be introduced to Hardly Initiated. Anything you want to say to them before we get out of here?
No, I mean, first of all, I appreciate you. You know, we family, so anytime I could be back, I always would love to. And we talk about relationship dynamics on our platform for the most part. You know, especially between men and women. And I think I'm pro-strap, so I think everybody, regardless, whether you man, woman, single, married, whatever the case is definitely important to not only just own your weapon, but get familiar with knowing how to use your weapon. Just because, we working hard to, on a day-to-day, build, grow, expand everything we're working towards. And another aspect of what we're doing is we need to be learning how to protect it as well. Everything that we put in our time, energy, and effort towards. So, with that in mind, I appreciate the content you put out as well, because it's necessary even for me, because I'm not even where I need to be, and I know I'm not where I need to be. Right. But this actually is a good reminder that I need to put actually on the top of my goals, because I'm actually doing that getting into 2024. That's one of the things I want to do. I do want to get a new strap, get all the equipment necessary that I can take into next year to start more consistently carrying. I'll keep the gun I have now, keep it in the house as my house gun. Get me a nice gun to carry. I think that's a good goal for everybody to have, but you should be consistently in that area of, self-defense. Be taking it very serious. The, gun you have, and making it a habit to be prepared for whatever might, happen in day-to-day life.
Yep. Get the strap.
Get the strap. It's that simple.
The strap. Will, you got anything? Any closing remarks for the people?
Hold on. Let me. Hold on. I gotta pedal a little bit faster. Hold on. Let me get my Fred Flintstone on real quick.
Yeah. He burned like 900 calories this episode, y'all.
Right.
I lost about 7 pounds. Definitely lost about 7 pounds this hour. I don't have a lot of time, so I just want to say for the people, thanks for tuning in. Ty, thank you for joining us, man. We really appreciate it. We appreciate you constantly. You and Ryan are leaders of this new generation. You guys are, I'm incredibly proud of both of you. It's been an honor to watch what you guys have built and how you're contributing to helping people figure out themselves and figure out how to be better in relationships. I think the what you guys are doing, I'm gonna keep going. Fuck that camera. Serge, you put whatever up there that you got to put up there, put the logo, whatever. But I'm gonna keep going. I just think that what you guys are doing is amazing. I love seeing it, and I thank you for taking the time out to have this discussion with us, because I think it does tie into the discussions that you guys have on your platform, because this is in the 2A community. What's believed in is about protecting the family, protecting what you invest your time into building. So I appreciate you taking the time out to show your audience and talk to your audience from this perspective, and not just about the interpersonal relationships between men and women, but also sustaining what's built, after you build those relationships. Like, this is a way you can sustain and strengthen and protect those relationships and the things that come from them. So I just want to thank you for your time. I'm glad that I was able to, share this time with you brothers. And I'm here for whenever you guys want to do it again. I'm here for it.
Let's do it.
Likewise. I love it. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Hardly initiated Mondays and Wednesdays, airing. I think it's 8 or 9 o'clock. Then you have I Love Humans airing anytime he needs to air something out. And you got two-way talk.
Citizen to citizen coming at you weekly. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you next week.
You're still here. It's over.
Another one.